I'm Lin-Manuel Miranda, and you're listening to Hard NOC Life.
Well, it's the NOC in full color, you see me? The Hard NOC Life, comics, movies, and TV, yeah. Pop culture with a different perspective.
Hey, it's Hard Knocks again.
Hey, is it Hard Knocks or is it is this the podcast called Hard
Oops.
NOC Life?
That's right.
A podcast waiting for its subject matter to become aligned.
True. Well, I have to say, I mean, we're recording this on Friday, and this week all eyes have been on the Windy City, the city with broad shoulders, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, it's true.
Because the Chicago Bears are 4-0 in the preseason, baby. Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
they're the darlings of the NFL. That is why
what,
all eyes are on Chicago.
Yes, that's why, Keith. That's why everyone's interested in Chicago this week.
But I can't think of any other reason.
Preseason games. Which, as we know, are just...
Have you seen Caleb Williams in preseason? Oh my God.
You really want to make this the lead? We're confusing our core audience of 5. I mean, it's fine. It's fine with
on
me.
the run to Rome Odunze. Come on,
it's fine with me. You tell me what order we talk about our fandoms. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So I've watched Hard Knocks, the HBO show. For those of you who don't know, is the HBO show about football, where they document a particular team, and they're documenting the Chicago Bears, which is your favorite team.
Yes. Well, I have to say, I mean, I've never watched an episode of Hard Knocks in the past. It's been on HBO for 20 years, and I've never watched. This is the first time they've ever covered the Bears, so that's why I'm watching. And I have to say, it's impressive.
Yeah, it's very well made.
It's like a full-on documentary of the week made that same week.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that has to be talked about related to football is that they've always had a really good cinematic movie making wing from NFL films. Whoever does it, when they shot them on film, I mean, you know this, but going back to old school, they shot them and they created excitement by making these very, basically gladiator movies.
Well, that's where like the frozen tundra came from, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. These moments are captured like movies, so the documentary filmmaking wing of the NFL has always been incredibly strong, creating narratives, getting shots, just making an exciting moment happen. So that tradition continues in Hard Knocks. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I was never interested because I just, I mean, I didn't feel like, why should I watch behind the scenes of teams I don't care about? So, right, like the only reason I'm watching this year is because, and one of the criticisms I've heard of the show, honestly, is that so far there's only been 3 episodes featuring the Bears, and they've all been kind of profanity free. And people are like, why are you giving us the PG-13 version? Because typically, like, if you like, I think last season with the Dolphins, their coach Mike McDaniel was like famously dropping F-bombs every 3 words. So,
and I believe one of the earlier popular seasons with the Jets with Rex Ryan, who's just like a very very colorful speaker too. So yeah, but that's okay. It's not about. I mean, it's not about the hard R, bros. I'm not in it for the hard R. I'm in it for the karaoke. They have karaoke like every.
That's apparently a Bears tradition that the rookies must sing a song in front of the entire team. They have to say their name, their school, and their signing bonus, and then sing a song.
They put their signing bonus on blast. That's pretty.
Yeah,
extreme.
That's why, like, the most recent episode, Austin Reed, who's like the 4th string quarterback, he's the only one who's killed it. Well, I guess Rome Odunze did pretty good, but he'd sang a Keisha Cole song. But he was like, Austin Reed, I don't even remember the school he's from, and signing bonus 5,000, and that's quite the contrast to Caleb Williams when he came up a couple of days weeks ago. Signing bonus 25.5 million.
Right. On NFL scale, that's a drop in the bucket, although many of us would love to have $5,000. But whatever.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. Just drop a 5,000 in the check. I'll take it. PayPal, whatever.
But yeah, so
yeah, the karaoke part I assumed was going to be your favorite aspect of
Yeah, no,
Bears culture.
I dug it, and I'm a Niners fan, so and full disclosure, we're probably going to play fantasy football this season, so you and me, Keith, will go round and round on several planes of existence. But part of it was the Bears haven't been in the mix for a while as far as playoff and deep runs go, right? So there's
That is
some
true.
compelling anxiety pressure here. What do you say about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, so like the last time you and I talked football on the show was around the time they were deciding to keep Justin Fields or trade Justin Fields, who was their
Mm-hmm.
starting quarterback the last 3 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
because they had the number one pick. Caleb Williams is the consensus greatest quarterback in the draft, maybe in a generation. And I was, full disclosure, I was on the team of keep Justin Fields, trade the pick,
Mm-hmm.
build an amazing team with multiple draft picks for multiple years from here on out. And I was wrong. I
Well, you
think
don't know that you're wrong, but
I didn't know
you
I was wrong. No, I know I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong
oh
as of August, whatever, 2024. I was wrong to think back in January we should have kept Justin and not drafted Caleb, because watching Caleb 45 snaps in the preseason, I'm convinced he will be the greatest quarterback in Chicago Bears history.
wow, he might throw for 4,000
He might.
for whatever that's worth. Whatever
Well, that's a
quarterbacks can
big
do
deal
that.
since it's never
Yeah,
happened in Chicago.
right. But quarterbacks
Every
can
other
do it
team is
and
like
not make.
whatever.
You can still not make the playoffs and do that. So let's
Well, so I
talk
mean,
about
so
team success.
let me continue. So like one of the reasons I thought it was that we had a good team, even with Justin. Like our defense probably might be the best defense in the league this season. Was clearly top five by the end of the season last year. We only added to the offense. Never mind Caleb, but we got Roma Dunze, who is our other rookie, who is going to be an amazing wide receiver. We signed Keenan Allen from the Chargers. We already have we extended DJ Moore. Cole Kmet's going to be a stud tight end. We signed DeAndre Swift from the Eagles.
I like
And
DeAndre Swift.
we even boosted our like special teams because Torrey Taylor, the Australian punter from Iowa, like we drafted him in the 4th round,
Mm,
and people were like, "What the hell are you doing drafting a punt?" That dude, he might
punts.
be the best player not named Caleb Williams. I swear to God, like
Okay.
he is like he's able to turn the punt, which is like a throwaway play in the NFL or in football in general, into like an actual weapon, like flipping the field, placing the ball exactly where he wants to place it. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it.
You heard it here first, folks. The Chicago Bears punter will
The rookie
turn
of
the
the year, Torrey
tide
Taylor, right here.
of the upcoming NFL season. Please go on.
Who's even listening at this point? I feel like we've lost everyone.
No, because we have an excellent segue coming up. Because when we get to it, your mentality about the quarterbacks very much mirrors the Democratic presidential nominee
Yeah,
thing,
we'll lose even more listeners when we
which
start
we'll
talking
talk to in a
about
second.
Democratic
Yeah,
politics.
just tease what nerdy thing we're going to talk about at the end. What nerdy thing are we going to talk about at the end? Just
Oh yeah, there's a Star Wars thing we'll talk about too.
okay, great.
So just either skip forward or listen to sports and
Yeah,
politics before we're going to be ESPN's MSNBC, and then we get to nerd shit.
yeah, sports, politics, and Star Wars. We've got it all this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, go on.
No, but anyway, so we were good enough. We were 7-10 last year. Could have made the playoffs. The 3 games we blew at the end of the game, we would have been 10-7. Probably would have made the playoffs last year. So we were already a playoff team. You just add all the additional weapons onto that already playoff team, and then another year stronger of the defense, and they have been lights out in practice and in the preseason. They are going to be a force this season. So yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. I'm thinking, 13-4. Come on, let's
Okay.
go. Take the North and
Okay.
never give it back.
Okay, Bears Stan. And remind me who's in the Bears division? Because I'm a nerd and don't know
The
anything about football.
Lions and the Packers, and then the poor Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings, who
Okay.
lost their starting quarterback
Yeah.
the other day. So
See, so I'm
I think there will be 3 teams in the playoffs from the NFC North.
okay. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm coming from a different angle this NFL season because my main team is the Niners, and so we got the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
got to the Super Bowl last year. Really exciting game.
Should have won it.
lost it by inches, lost it by a coin flip. And it's very hard to say that that'll happen again. Niners fans, like, we still have a strong team, but like our thinking is not like, oh yeah, we'll just get to the Super Bowl again. God, it's hard to do that. But Chicago Bears are on the, upward arc
Right.
of hope, right? So
Yeah.
that's where it's interesting, us two guys talking about it.
Particularly, like you said, after years and years and years of I mean, I was such a huge Justin Fields fan because he was the only hope we had in some
Mm-hmm.
dreary, terrible seasons. Just watching
Yeah.
him run for 1,000 yards was like, the only bright spot being football fan.
Yeah, and what I think is fascinating is, like, when you talked about how you were with Justin Fields, it seems like you got to have it both ways. I mean, you both got the top quarterback draft pick, and your team got stronger.
Exactly.
I
Which
don't
is
I don't
unheard of.
know.
That's why,
Yes.
like, Caleb Williams coming into this situation, like, a lot of people are like, well, he'll be a rookie. Let's look at Peyton Manning. He's threw 20,000 interceptions his first. Yeah, but his team was terrible.
Yeah.
Caleb is coming into a situation with, like I said, a top 5, maybe top 2, possibly top 1 defense, and an offense that has weapon after weapon after. I mean, our weakest thing, which is important, is our offensive line.
Always a question. Yeah.
But that's every team.
Yeah.
You lose your right guard, you lose your left tackle, and all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you're Patrick Mahomes or Brock Purdy. If you don't have that, you're screwed. So
yeah, the Niners have always had a good one, but Trent Williams hasn't reported camp, so that's another
so we'll see. I mean, like I
difficult
said,
part, but
right
yeah.
now we're undefeated, 4-0 and 0-0 in the regular season. So, like, it's everything is possible in a time like this.
Yeah, and it seems more importantly that Caleb Williams and no one has injured themselves seriously yet.
Right.
Which is always a component of
And,
football.
and like I said, like, with the whole thing about, one of the reasons I was never anti Caleb Williams, but I just thought we already had the quarterback. We had so many other holes. Let's address the other holes,
Right.
But what I did not anticipate is Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Bears, being such a deft general manager that he was able to fill those holes even with 4-5 draft picks, right?
Yeah, it's really remarkable.
So, like, one of the reasons I wanted to, trade down basically and give up the number 1 pick is that I had wanted Marvin Harrison Jr., who was the wide receiver out of Ohio State, because I thought we needed one more wide receiver weapon. Give Justin that, sky's the limit. And so why I turned around so quickly is that after we drafted Caleb, we still had the number 9 pick, which was Chicago's own pick. The number 1 pick came from Carolina, which is going to go down as the most lopsided trade in the history of the world. But we still had the number 9 pick, and we used that pick to draft Rome Odunze out of Washington, who I think is going to actually be better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
Just watching him in Hard Knocks, watching him in practice, seeing him on he is a legit. He might be like the second best wide receiver already on the team, and that's the team with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So, like,
how did you get Keenan Allen again? Did you trade or buy?
Yeah, the Chargers were like, he's too expensive, and we'll give you a 4th round pick for him, and they're like, okay.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, that's all very promising for the Bulls.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that Bulls, I meant the Bears.
Well, that's fine. It's all the same. Well, we're here
Same
not to
universe.
talk about the Bears. We're here to talk about
universe.
the show Hard Knocks. I mean, ostensibly still a pop culture thing because it's on HBO. The other reason I've, like, been losing my mind is that you mentioned the Bulls in the very first episode of Hard Knocks. They bring in Ray Clay, and if you are a longtime Bulls fan from the 90s, Ray Clay was the arena announcer for the Chicago Bulls during their first and second championship run. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a song by the Alan Parsons Project called Sirius, which is only now associated with Chicago. And the Alan Parsons Project is, I don't even think, an Illinois, Chicago-based band, but we use their music for the intro for the Bulls, and it's become so iconic. It was like the Democratic roll call song for Illinois at the convention.
Wow, yeah.
But it's always forever associated with Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
Okay.
Ray Clay's famous, and now your starting lineup for your Chicago Bulls, right? And they did that. They even got Ray Clay to do the announcing for Caleb Williams in the beginning of Hard Knocks episode 1, and ever from that point
Yeah.
on, I was just like, this show is the greatest show on television.
No, it's a good one. They do a really good job. Now, I say all that. I'm not especially rooting for the Bears, but I'm happy to watch you root for the Bears. You'll also remember, if I'm not mistaken, are the Bears the one team that had a G.I. Joe character?
William the Refrigerator Perry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had his own action figure.
Had his own action figure. And I've been tracking it down for the last 40 years because I used to have it and then I got rid of all my
that must
toys.
be quite a collector's item at this point.
Yeah, I can't find a complete one for under $100. I'm still I'm still looking.
But yeah, so the Bears are aligned in that way. Yeah, and there's one more thing I wanted to ask that was sports trivial, but I can't remember that. Well, I mean, it just no, you've got a lot of good offensive players. I really like DeAndre Swift. You know, my joke last year was that the true Swift Bowl was when that game when DeAndre Swift was playing. Was it
Philadelphia Eagles right?
And Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs won that one. But I think he's a good running back. I like him. I hope to get him on my fantasy team again. And
speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, like I think this kind of photo went viral last year because on the Eagles, when Swift was on the Eagles as the running back and Jason Kelce was the center, their quarterback, of course, was Jalen Hurts. So there was a photo that went viral of the center, quarterback, running back in formation. So you from behind you could see their jerseys and it read Kelce, Hurts, Swift.
No, wow. Conspiracy. Okay, that's crazy. But yeah.
But it didn't. It actually was the other way around. Swift helped Kelce. So
yeah. Jalen Hurts is he's not my favorite. But why we don't have to go into it.
Yeah, we don't care about the Eagles.
Yeah, they're we will stomp them if we play them this season. And when I say I mean the Niners. I haven't even checked I'm not the guy who pores over the schedule as some fans do. Have you pored over the
like I said, I've already
schedule?
like chosen which games are going to lose, which games are going to win, and I can't I keep coming back to 12-5 at the very least.
Okay.
Well, before we move on, you had messaged me the other day wanting to know something about Roma Dunze, and I was just curious. Was there something specific that piqued your interest on the rookie wide receiver? I'd be happy to elaborate.
I was merely planning my fantasy draft strategy.
Looking for sleepers.
Thank you, Mina Kimes. I was watching her at the time talking about some stuff, not the one you sent. Then I watched that one, and I was looking at players that I wasn't familiar with. So he's a rookie, right? So
yeah, he's going to be good.
Okay.
I think he's going to be good.
There are a couple of rookies that come out, like for example, Christian McCaffrey's brother is a wide receiver now, and I believe he's on the Commanders. And Marvin Harrison Jr., where did he go to? The Cardinals?
He ended up in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all those guys are like on my radar.
Yeah, Malik Neighbor. I mean, they may get picked up pretty early. I mean, is your league PPR, points per reception?
Yeah, I play that way.
Yeah. So wide receivers are going to be pretty valuable in your league.
Yeah, and then we may be expanding it to 10 games. But anyway, the point is you think he'll be.
I think in a draft where the receiver was probably the deepest position other than quarterback this year, where you had a Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors, Keon Coleman, Roma Dunze. He might be. I got Bears goggles on.
You're the most devoted fan right now. You are like the Snyder Cut stands of the Chicago
less toxic.
Bears.
I would like to think I'm a little less toxic.
Well, yeah, you don't assault people who like dare to, root for other teams.
Well, wait till the season starts, I guess.
Right, exactly. And at that point, if I dare to say something like, gee, the Bears, cornerback isn't looking so good, will you then jump down my throat and no, he's perfect.
Send the mob. Yeah.
He is made of light. Anyway. Sorry, go on.
Continue. No. So I guess we should transition because this week the other thing that happened in Chicago was the Democratic National Convention, which is the quadrannual event where the different parties select their nominees to run for president in the fall.
Yeah.
And I don't recall if we have recorded since. No, we did record. We have recorded since Kamala Harris became the presumptive nominee.
Yeah.
Because we kind of predicted it when we went on a mini vacation. And then so now she's official now.
Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about her running mate for Tim Walz,
Mm,
who was her pick for vice president.
right.
And it's actually it's a good transition because we were talking about football, and he's famously a high school football coach.
Oh yeah, totally.
And his speech the other night was full on Friday Night Lights,
Yeah.
clear eyes, full hearts.
Using football metaphors appropriately. You'll love to see it.
And my favorite part is that the right wing is like their biggest dunk so far is like he wasn't even really the coach, he was an assistant coach.
Oh,
And it's
get
like,
out of
dude was
town.
the defensive coordinator. Like, show me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball. If you don't think
Totally.
that defensive coordinator is not a coach.
Totally. Yeah, it's weird. And yeah, they're just going on like his military record too. They're like to play this he wasn't really that game, which is really stupid because then turn it on the other side and it's like Trump isn't anything he's ever claimed to be. He's just made up of exaggerations. But yeah, that convention was quite a thing, man.
It was a
And
spectacle.
really, really good pep talk speeches by the two people at the top of the ticket, both Walz and Harris, I thought. I mean, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think best speech of the week goes to Michelle Obama,
Mm.
hands down. I saw the comparison. Someone said like Michelle Obama is like LeBron, but like LeBron deciding he's only going to play basketball every 4 years.
That's what
Because
that's
like
funny.
she's so good, but
Yeah.
then she's just like, I'm not interested, and leaves the scene and comes back when like you need her to like,
Yeah.
you know, pump up the crowd. And she
Yeah.
delivered in her hometown of Chicago, so it made sense.
Chicago. Yeah, it was encouraging. It was full of hope. And again, I want to go back to this thing of analogous to the Chicago Bears quarterback anxiety. You know, just a few weeks ago when Biden hadn't stepped away yet, remember the moment was very much like Democrats infighting, going, "Oh my God, don't even talk about that. No, that's a terrible idea. No, that's a great idea." Remember, George Clooney came out in favor of dropping out, and the line was very much like, "No, this guy, rich
Traitor. It
people."
was like the Snyder Cut thing you were saying.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
was there was so much vitriol about that's a you're stop just stop saying that. It's just because and it wasn't because people love Biden, it was because they were so worried
Worried. Yeah.
appropriately that the shift would destabilize enough that Trump would win. And we still don't no one wants that to happen, right? But the cool thing is how that shifted completely because it just seems a thing of destiny just within a couple weeks. But I mean, don't you think that's interesting? Just like as you are like, wait, Caleb Williams? Oh, wait, now Caleb Williams. Just 3 weeks ago, we were all going, Kamala Harris? Yeah, but oh wait, now really Kamala Harris.
Well, but I think that was the undercurrent of some of the skepticism about Biden dropping out, or even honestly, even some of the skepticism about Biden potentially winning, is that like
Mm,
he wouldn't complete his term and Kamala Harris. Do you really want Kamala Harris to be president?
mm,
And to your point, I think what people underestimated was her political skill.
sure.
And I think they based that on two things that were not relevant in this election cycle. One, she ran in 2020, which was a different environment. And we can talk
Absolutely.
about, and like this is still ostensibly a pop culture podcast. We don't want to get too deep in the woods of policy and substance because we're just a couple hacks. We don't really need to get into that. But like, substantively, the primary particularly was further left in 2020 than it is probably now,
Hmm,
particularly in the Democratic. Like, I think what some people fail to realize is that the Democratic Party is truly the coalition party, where
right.
it's not a left-wing party. It's
Hmm.
it, it's it goes everywhere from left wing to center right now.
Yeah, it's a bunch of different squads.
Right? It's not
It's like
like
Los Angeles.
it's Adam Kinzinger as much as it's AOC, but that's what's so hard about being a Democrat, is that you
Yeah.
are having to kind of thread 100 different needles at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas the Republicans, all you have to do is pledge fealty to Trump, and then okay, you're in the club.
Yeah.
Which is how you become a cult of personality, and why when people talk about the middle or the centrist, they're not really talking about centrism between Democrats and what's now the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Because there is no center there. That they are so far right. The
Yeah.
Democrats take up so much space on the political spectrum that
Yeah.
center is inside. It's still inside the party.
Yeah.
And that's where she's trying to appeal. And I think she's getting some flack from the left, fairly or unfairly. It's a big ship to keep together.
Yes. Yes. But that's what's beautiful about it. That's the challenge. And
yeah, that's what a pluralistic democracy is supposed to be.
Exactly. And it's quite a challenge. But I think we can say with some confidence now that the Harris-Walz ticket seems to be pulling it together.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was such a fan of the Walz pick, because he was a pretty progressive governor in Minnesota. Like a lot of the policies he passed, but at the same time he codes as rural.
Yeah.
Even though his policies are not at all right wing or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But he can talk about football. He like the smartest thing that the campaign can do with Walz. Yes, have him address like the rural parts of the swing states, but also have him go on college football game day on ESPN and just talk about football.
Totally. Yeah,
he doesn't don't even bring up politics. Just ask him about like 4-4 versus 4-3 defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the brilliant thing of it. And I wrote about this on Threads the other day. I mean, like, you've got Walz who can talk about football, which is like the most popular pop cultural thing in America.
Right as the football season's starting, too.
Right as the football season's starting. Perfect timing. Oh, and then you've got the actual presidential candidate who was co-signed by basically the biggest pop singer of this summer, Charlie XCX. And, the pop culture thing they've got on lock. And let's contrast that with Trump, who like doesn't like sports or music or anything, but talking about his own stupid face, Well,
and I think what to me, and maybe I'm the only person who picked up on this, because I am a big Neil Young fan. On top of being a Bears fan, I'm also a big Neil Young fan. I love Pearl Jam, love Neil Young, and they're kind of the same cloth, right? And partly because one of Neil Young's biggest songs is "Rockin' in the Free World," which the Trump campaign continuously plays during their rallies, and continually gets cease and desist letters from Neil Young saying, "Stop playing my music at your rallies." And so when Tim Walz finished his speech that Wednesday night, his walk-in music has always been John Cougar Mellencamp's "Small Town," which is appropriate.
Yes.
But his walkout music was "Rockin' in the Free World."
I did hear that. Yeah.
By Neil Young. And,
great tune.
And apparently was greenlit and signed off by the Neil Young people. Neil Young himself was like, "Yes, please, you can use my music."
Okay.
Which perfectly encapsulates, to your point, the not just pop culture in general lives with the Democrats.
So much.
And the Republic. Like, if you see the contrast between the DNC and the RNC from a couple weeks ago, it's so stark. It was like Kid Rock and Lee Greenwood versus Beyonce and John Legend doing Prince with Sheila E.
Oh my God, they did Let's Go Crazy. Oh my God, it was brilliant. And again, for clarity, we know that the Trump campaign plays a lot of music without clearance from the artists. So there is music there, but it's not in their hearts. They're not playing with the right artists. They played Purple Rain too. They don't even know what the fuck that's about. And Prince would never approve that for the GOP ticket, but they just flaunt, basic respect and decency that way. Anyway, so they've got good music on their side and sports and a lot of movie stars still.
Yeah, so your boy Del Curry, not Del Curry, Del Curry's son, Steph Curry.
His boy. his literal son boy. Yeah.
Sorry, but 90s NBA kind of
nice one.
Because Del's from my part of Virginia too. So
I didn't know that.
He came out and endorsed. I mean, it was kind of obvious that Steph Curry was going to endorse Kamala Harris. I mean, they're both from the Bay, and
they're both Bay Area associated, and I
noticed that Kamala wouldn't say Berkeley during her speech for whatever reason. Like, was that intentional?
The cool thing is to be from Oakland. Berkeley is a divisive topic because it's hippie and college
Because that's
town
where
and
she's
all that
from, right?
stuff.
When she's talking about the East Bay, the flats and the hills, isn't she from
Yeah, she
Berkeley?
totally put it. Look, I
Who
I
lives you
live
who
in
live
the
in
Berkeley.
Berkeley?
I live in the Berkeley Hills. She totally put us on blast
Oh,
out there,
so you're
the flats and the
bougie, is what
hills.
she's saying.
I would be one of the bougie people she was referring to. But and I believe she went to a grade school in Berkeley and then well, she went out of a place for high school. So it's okay to confuse Berkeley and Oakland because they're right geographically, they're right together, and you could go to schools of both places, that kind of thing. But the vibe is different from Berkeley to Oakland. So yeah, she's not gonna. Berkeley just sounds like saying, I went to Harvard or whatever, or I went to Yale.
Right. And it's also got like we were talking, if you're trying to appeal to like swing voters and centrists, Berkeley has also that like lefty hippie
Lots of
connotation.
connotations. Lots of connotations.
Well, speaking of the pop culture piece and music, did you watch the roll call from the other night where each state had a
Oh,
very specific state song?
yeah, I watched some of it, but I didn't,
Yeah, but you saw like
I know the concept of what they did.
yeah, and California, like people had been saying as soon as Harris launched her campaign that if she plays Kendrick's "Not Like Us," it'll
Hmm.
guarantee the win. And they played "Not Like Us" during
Yeah,
California.
which is pretty wild song to you know, that's that's pretty street smart for a democratic, for a political convention. Did they get to the whole line about, certified pedophile?
Yeah, I
Did
don't
they
think I
cut
think
it off before
I
that?
think they pretty much it might have just been the instrumental to be honest. I don't even
Yeah,
know if
right
they
on.
got to the lyrics, but but the Beyonce song that's the official theme song of the campaign, Freedom,
Right.
also features Kendrick.
Totally, totally.
And there was a rumor, I don't know if you followed on social media yesterday, but there was a rumor that there was a special guest that was going to make an appearance last night. And everyone was like, I think even the betting sites were
Hmm.
putting money down on it. It was either going to be Taylor Swift or Beyonce, and it ended up being
Hmm.
nobody. But did you follow any of that? Did you think
Oh
Beyonce was
yeah,
going to show up and
I
sing
didn't really
Freedom in
think
person?
I didn't really think she was. I think they're saving that card to play for another moment. I think that will happen at some point, but
At what moment would that be as impactful as it would have been if like Beyonce was saying
well,
Freedom?
we'll still have like 2 months of election, you know, drama to get through. I think Beyonce is gonna choose her moment to come out. A moment completely of her choosing that she orchestrates herself. I mean, let's not forget it's Beyonce. She wants it done exactly her way.
Yeah.
So she's gonna figure out a moment when she's not just someone on the agenda, part of the roll call. She's gonna find out where it's all about her and come out and sing for Kamala Harris at
Well,
some
and it's
point.
also
And
crazy
wow.
to me how that song has become like the Kamala Harris song. I mean,
Mm.
it's from the Lemonade album, so it's pretty old. It's
Yeah, sure.
not like it's not all Cowboy Carter or anything, but
Right.
even if it comes up on my shuffle, like I think Kamala Harris now. I don't even think of it as a Beyonce song anymore.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, fucking Trump and Vance should just give up right now. For one thing, I think Trump's head is going to explode. I mean, seriously, I said this. He's never not spiraling, but this new thing of having to face a black Asian American woman candidate that he's completely not equipped to deal with in any way except a completely racist, idiotic way. It's his head is just going to explode, which would be fine. And I'm not making any reference to assassination attempts. That shit is terrible. But I mean, you
Yes,
should keep
Secret Service, please do not call Dominic.
right. My point is, yeah, yeah. Well, my point is, you should give up now because you cannot beat the combination of Beyonce and Charlie XCX in the year of 2024. That's you even try. That's
Well, and I think, but
unbeatable.
at the same time, I would say that there is still at least 47% of the country that will still, for whatever reason.
Yes, I'm not trying to be overconfident. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
all the work has to be done.
yeah. No, no, and I think, but
But
and I think again, like to your point, it's only 75 days, but it's still 75 days,
yep,
and for whatever reason, there's like I said, 47%, 80 million people for what could still
for
vote
whatever
for him
reason.
for whatever reason. And our side, like I said, has to navigate a lot of different constituents who may or may not come out between
Mm,
September and November to cast their vote.
hmm.
And some reasons good, some reasons You know, like I understand the ceasefire opposition to Kamala Harris,
Yeah.
but you know, I think that's what's more difficult on our side is that we have to keep this whole giant cruise ship together
Right.
as we barrel towards November. And
Right.
if there are any cracks, ships like that size take on water pretty quickly. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. I mean, it's a completely it's a huge challenge because of the big umbrella, because of all the different voices represented. But again, that's what I'm saying. What brings that together faster than sports and music?
yeah.
That's the kind of thing that brings people, diverse groups together. On the Republican side, the equivalent would be racism and sexism. That's the thing they can all agree on.
What one thing we also saw this week is that yes, the right wing is losing the pop culture battle from that perspective, but they did get another, you know, trophy under their belt this week when Disney announced the Acolyte isn't returning, and that can be seen as a can that because who's taking a victory lap is the racists and the misogynists who said the Acolyte is just wokeness run amok, right? Whether or not you think the show was good and deserved to come back, it's being kind of like absorbed through certain parts of Star Wars fandom as a victory.
No, yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
Or at the very least, Lucasfilm kind of capitulating the way, you know, Marvel had been accused of capitulating to right-wing pressure, and the way that, like, you know, like you mentioned the Snyder Cut earlier, right? Like, so bad actors in fandom getting their way.
No, that's definitely an interesting thing to look at. So, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, the Acolyte was definitely, this was a case of it was definitely meant to go on. Like, it didn't like completely
Well, that
resolve
last
its
episode
story.
was like
right. It was, yeah, like in, you know, the series or any show, you know, canceled too early. It was cut off at a cliffhanger point.
Yeah, the
right?
cliffhanger is who's that little green guy that Vanestra's talking to?
Right. So definitely, yeah, they made a hard decision there. And, you know, I guess you know, I was iffy on the Acolyte. The main thing is it was sad not to get more of Darth Bortles.
That's my thing. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not actually that torn up about the show not coming back. I am more torn up is that the end of Manny Jacinto in the Star Wars universe.
Well, they'll bring him back in some other way, hopefully.
Will
But
they? Like, but that's the thing. If if the
right.
Acolyte is being kind of like washed out of, you know, canon.
Yeah, because almost nothing is set in that time period. He'd have to like fall through a time warp or something,
right,
to guest star in Andor or whatever. That seems unlikely now that I think about it out loud. Yeah.
And so now, like, I'm also worried because if you recall a couple weeks ago, I had mentioned I bought the Lee Jung Jae action figure in anticipation of them releasing the Darth Bortles figure, and now I'm like, are they not? They're probably not even going to release that figure ever.
Come on, are you serious? They make an action figure out of the freaking robot that serves drinks on the sail barge. They're not gonna. They're
yeah,
not.
But you don't got to pay for the likeness rights when you do that.
Oh, okay. So you don't think there's gonna be?
I don't know now. Like that's
Darth Bortles figure.
I feel like that's going to be a tough sell because there's no media for it to be attached to.
That's crazy to me.
Because there was a rumor, I don't know how true it is. There was a rumor I saw that like the Acolyte might get the Willow treatment on Disney Plus and be scrubbed from the streaming site altogether.
Wow.
As you recall, Willow is not even available on Disney Plus after it got canceled.
Wow. Yeah, I actually missed that blip, and I'm a medium Willow person. Wait, I'm sorry. Wasn't there going to be a series, and did they have some and it's gone now?
Yeah, the series is gone. There was 2 seasons of it, and it got canceled, and then they took the show. I don't know if the movie's off the site, but the show is no longer streaming.
Okay, well, there's some crazy things going on in the Disney Plus camp, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, do you think of it as something like I also think it's a little extreme to say it's Disney capitulating to like the bad faith fans, because like I can see the strategy of not wanting to kind of over dilute the Star Wars brand with too much. Like all the streaming shows honestly have not been, other than the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. Yeah. The other Star Wars shows haven't really been kind of like, if anything, they have diluted the brand of Star Wars, I feel.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, even, you know, Darth Portals aside, like it is good if they streamline and focus on just a couple things. And I wasn't in love with the Acolyte enough to make a case that, oh, I need 3 seasons of this. I definitely don't. I just liked parts of it. I mean, that said, I don't know what what's the Star Wars thing next that's most likely to come out.
Skeleton Crew,
Oh, okay.
which is
Okay,
the
yeah.
like Goonies in space,
Yeah, right on.
which I thought looked fun. I know, again, people lose their shit over the dumbest things, but
Yeah.
I thought it looked cute.
Yeah.
Why can't the galaxy have suburbs?
Yeah, totally.
Attack of the Clones has a Mel's Diner on
It
Coruscant.
absolutely does. It absolutely does. Oh, I remember that part is cute. Yeah, no, I mean, for as far as my Star Wars fandom goes, no, I'm not rah. Let's get more of the Acolyte universe, but those parts of it were good. Okay, what's his actual name that we keep calling Darth Portals? I've forgotten already.
I think Chimera was the name
Oh,
of
right.
the
Right, Chimer, yeah.
kind
Thank
of the
you.
bum. I don't think he ever had like a full Sith name, because the marketing called him the Stranger when he was
Yeah.
under the mask, which was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I know, yeah, and again, I like to think this just to say every Marvel movie, all the Star Wars movies, I'm the kind of fan that like there's some part I like about all of them. You know what I mean? I mean, some people are just like way too many superhero movies. How did you stand, Thor 2 or Eternals or whichever one it is. There's some part I enjoy about all of them.
Yeah.
Whether that part justifies a whole bunch of seasons, that's a different question. But
Yeah, I mean, and I think like for me, I'm kind of got to the point where I'm not as, yeah, I feel like that. I'm kind of like about everything. Like nothing
sure.
has really like blown me away. I really liked Batman Caped Crusader.
Yes.
But
That shit is good.
even then, like I appreciate it as a thing, but it's not like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. It's not Hard Knock with the Bears, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like with all of the Comic-Con announcements with Marvel, we talked about, like, I'm not super jazzed about any of it. I'm like interested, and Deadpool and Wolverine, I was like, oh, that was a movie.
That was a
Like,
movie. Yeah.
I'm not losing my shit over anything. And again, maybe that's age, maybe that's like fatigue of not just superheroes, but like all of it. Because again, there's just so much that
Yeah.
it's hard to
It
get like super excited about one of it. If
yeah.
it's all kind of like it's a hose, and it's just you can't turn
Yeah,
it
it
off.
is like I think narrowing the focus is overall a good plan. And all that said, yeah, I am excited for the arcs that will bring us to Secret Wars. I'm excited for not so much the animated ones, but what was this? I am excited for an Andor season 2, honestly.
Mhm. No, Andor.
And
Yeah, I forgot about
yeah.
Andor. Andor was probably the lone unique kind of fiefdom in the Star Wars universe,
Yeah.
where like it kind of dealt with his own thing and was made in such a way that it didn't feel like it had, because even with the Mandalorian, like once it got to like season 3, and then it was having to tie into Ahsoka
Mm-hmm.
and Boba Fett and everything, it just, and even in Clone War, like it just became too, I think where I'm getting tired of is like the shared universe.
Sure.
That's where everything, you have to watch everything because it's all homework and it's all connected. It's actually less appealing now than it was
Yeah.
20 years ago or 10 years ago.
Well, they just invented it like 10-ish years. Well, maybe it's been around 15 years now. It's hard to say. I mean, I think I mark the beginning point as the Avengers. That was like the proof of concept of, oh, yeah, okay. Shared
Yeah, well, I mean,
universe. But it's I'm saying 2012. Anyway,
yeah, but yeah, that's the thing about like Star Trek has always, like, to me, like the one property that understood, and then again, I haven't watched modern Star Trek, so I don't know. And I know that one of the complaints of modern Star Trek is that continuity, it gets all kind of fuzzy because
oh,
of
yeah, because like they're on their third guy who's Spock now, and he always had his sister. But I love that show. But go on.
no, but like that was always the thing about, like, there was a through line from the original series to the Next Generation, to Deep Space Nine, to Voyager, and it was all like it all existed in the same plane of existence, right? There were,
Mm-hmm.
and the Kelvin universe is when it started to break off into, there were even though there's always been like the mirror universe or whatever.
Yeah.
Point is, that was, to me, that was like a shared universe before we had the term,
Yeah,
because it all exists. Even
absolutely.
Kevin Smith kind of coined it with the View Askew movies, where they all kind of like the guys from
Yeah,
Clerks would show up in Mallrats and Jay and Silent Bob. So like, I think it's always been a part of nerd culture
right,
as a mainstream thing. Yeah, it's definitely the Avengers was the
right,
linchpin,
right, right. You're
and
right.
everyone who's tried to create a shared universe since has failed.
Right. Now it's so mainstream. It's like a little okay. It's been around.
Remember when Tom
Yeah.
Cruise and Russell Crowe were supposed to do the Dark Monsters universe with
Yep. Yep.
Universal monsters that never happened?
Yep. It's not about Tom Cruise, man. It's about Godzilla. But it's
Well, the Godzilla
Godzilla's
universe,
about the
I guess that's considered successful.
yeah.
Is
Well,
it? Is it considered successful?
because
I mean,
Godzilla's big. I don't know. Success is a big word, Keith. I'm not sure we could put
there's
that, but
at least they made
mm,
multiple movies in that
yeah,
Godzilla Kong Monarch universe, and
yeah.
I haven't seen any of them except the first Godzilla.
All right. Well, okay. Well, we're floating around in
Yeah,
various
sorry.
different universes at the moment.
Yeah,
But I was
shared universe bad, I think is my point.
okay. There you go. There was some there was some point I was trying to bring back to, but I've sort of forgotten it.
And it's
But
okay
anyway,
because
what's
shared universe. That's why
right?
there's a multiverse in which you remember
There is
your
another
point.
universe where I remember my
But
point.
I will say this too. Like I am, that's why I'm a little bit concerned with the whole James Gunn DC universe.
Sure.
Is that they're all premised on we're going to connect all the, and that was a kind of feeling like, and there's still like, except the Matt Reeves stuff because that's going to be separate. But we'll have,
Right.
that's when
Except
you
there's
start like you're already starting to make,
exception proof rule.
and Peacemaker, it kind of exists in the DCEU and my
Yeah.
universe. Like you're
Yeah.
already kind of fucking with
Yeah.
shared universe concepts. So, but I wouldn't give James Gunn props because they finished filming on
Okay.
Superman, I think like 2 weeks ago or whatever. It was around the time of Comic-Con. They said like they finished filming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because that was around the same time where Fantastic Four was like, we just started filming. And they
Wow.
both
Huh.
have the same essential release date. Like they
Yeah.
both come out the same week in July of 2025.
Yeah.
And I just think that's hilarious because James Gunn wrote on Threads that the reason he finished principal photography so early is that he wanted to give the VFX teams time
Mm-hmm.
to complete post-production,
Mm-hmm.
which is like anathema to Marvel.
Hmm.
And Marvel's actually gotten in trouble for like killing their VFX teams, and the
Yeah.
VFX and a lot of like Marvel stuff, a lot of Disney stuff lately has been kind of shitty because they've been rushing through.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was an interesting contrast that like Fantastic Four and Superman, same release date, but their
Yeah.
production schedules are wildly different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a very subtle shot fired by James Gunn
Oh,
that
for
I
sure.
think you accurately pick up on. And it's true, a lot of and I don't buy this whole thing of like the VFX look shitty. They still look astoundingly better than anything we had just like 8 years ago.
Mhm.
But yes, when you rush through things, you don't have time to make decisions. Like maybe this should be shaded this way, or maybe this should be shaded that way, and they just don't take the time to make that decision. Yes, a lot of the Marvel movies show this now and then. So it's great if they take that time to bring, thought out visual artistic decisions to the Superman movie. And it'll be really bad if Fantastic Four is even more complicated beast because they've got the 4 different power sets and all these different things to mess with.
Galactus and
Yeah. You want everything to be considered and for maximum cinematic effect. So we will see. But yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to elide the fact that there's like 6 other superheroes in the Superman movie that all have to have their powers like on display at some point, right? But
it just, I mean, it's an interesting contrast to have like a full year to do post production, where like Fantastic Four will get at best 6 months if they
right.
still make their release date.
Yeah, and let's not get it twisted. Like this is where summer movies are made in our modern era. It's not like they stop shooting and they just draw a bunch of stuff on top of it. The work is happening with the VFX people. If we're talking about big summer movies, the work is happening with the VFX people. That's where they get, where they glow up, basically. The explosions are cool or they aren't. And it all matters on whether the VFX people have enough time to decide those things.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give a shout out to James Gunn, and you know, if there is one thing I am still, if there's like that little bit of glimmer of hope and excitement for these, you know, superhero IP, it is Superman Legacy. So I
Right
think
on.
that's still like there's that flicker of like I want to know what that looks like.
Absolutely.
The Marvel stuff, I've kind of like even like I said with the Doctor Doom, and I've kind of felt like all right, there's nothing that's drawing me in. Secret Wars, whatever. Like I'm kind of
Okay.
out, honestly. Sorry, Marvel
Well,
Zombies.
right. Well, we'll suck you back in.
But the DC stuff, I mean, again, my DC bias is showing, but that's still like I don't know what that's gonna look like, and that's
Well,
exciting to me.
refresh me for clarity. Is there Bat anyone in the Superman
They have
movie?
not. Well, there will be a Batman in the connected James Gunn universe. They have not cast said Batman.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay. I mean, no one from the whole extended Bat family that we know of is in the current James Gunn side of the plan. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I mean, Amanda Waller is kind of like a, you know, kind of a. I consider Amanda Waller a Batman adjacent character.
Okay.
But she's the Amanda Waller from DCEU, so like,
Yeah, I mean
that's where it's
certainly,
already confusing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so the only live action thing that's been in production is Superman. The Creature
Okay.
Commandos is an animated series,
Right.
that's part of the universe that I think is coming out later this year on HBO Max.
Right. Okay.
But none of them are like Batman adjacent characters again, other than Amanda
Yeah,
Waller. She's
sure.
in that show. But because the Superman movie has Superman and all the Superman characters, the non-Superman superheroes in it are Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I think the engineer from the Authority.
Right. Yeah, which is crazy.
But no Batman people, and they haven't
Okay.
cast any Batman people.
Okay.
But there is a Batman 2 still coming out with Pattinson, Kravitz, Jeffrey
Yeah.
Wright, Colin Farrell. Like those all exist in a separate pocket universe.
Yeah.
That's not connected.
Think that's really interesting because again, they've already tried this, but if they keep it to the Superman side and the Batman side and at those twin focuses for a while and keep the moods apart, I feel like I'm talking about like a ESPN analyst. You know, if they keep the tone separate, so we have the cosmic Superman stuff on one side and the Batman stuff, and you know, I think those things will be really effective. Because that's, by the way, that's what I want to say. Coming back to Cape Crusader for a moment, I want to say that one reason I enjoy it so much and I think it's really effective is because it reminds you that Batman gets a little ridiculous when he's on the other side of the cosmic line, you know what I mean?
When he's taking out Darkseid by himself.
It's a little ridiculous when he's always got a suit of armor and a fucking time machine and he's fighting Darkseid. He definitely dilutes him, but you know, you've said this in many different ways before, but I just wanted to, you know, jump on that again because to bring it back to the side where he's just a dude with some gadgets who fights crime on an urban level brings a really good focus to it.
Well, and I think that's what Matt
Yeah.
Reeves' whole vision is very much in the Christopher Nolan, like Superman cannot exist in my world.
Right.
Like
right.
it's got to be Batman as a detective. He's just a
Right.
weird guy in a you know, gimp suit that also solves murders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I think that's why I think I guess the promise of Batman in the official DC universe, where you can take Batman out of the kind of urban crime noir and make him more like, because I think the movie that was announced when he first did his whole slate of the DC universe was Batman and Son, with Damian, you know. And I think with that you can do it more like, you know, Batman has the whole Batman family and you got all the Robins and all the Batgirls and, you know, he's got all the like more kind of outlandish gadgets than the Batman who's going to be in the James Gunn movies has to be more colorful and ridiculous.
Sure.
In order to make, because you can't just have like Ben Affleck 2.0.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where he's just like brutal and brooding, and you've already got that in Robert Pattinson. So like make the Batman of the James Gunn universe like an exasperated dad trying to raise Damian. I think that would be hilarious. I think that would be great. And Batman, it contains multitudes. You can have like two different, because they're going to exist at the same time.
Right.
So make a clear distinction. The Batman that lives here is the Batman from like Super Friends,
Right.
whereas the Batman from The Batman is more of the kind of like grimy, gritty, Dark Knight,
Yeah.
Frank
And
Miller
he's
stuff.
not fighting aliens all the time.
Yeah, he's fighting gangsters. Like
Yeah.
Batman in the DCU should be like fighting aliens, and he's
Yeah,
fighting
exactly.
Batmite, and he's fighting like
Right.
ridiculous villains with gadgets and stuff. Whereas Robert Pattinson he should just take down Carmine Falcone and
Sure. Yeah.
Rupert Thorne.
I can see it.
But
Excellent.
anyway, Dominic, what's the updates on your side projects? Unicorn Pegasus, 12 Valentines. What else you got cooking?
Oh, both those things. We after a lot of technical difficulties, my music group 12 Valentines is going to come out with these songs soon. We've got a Birds of Prey-ish Harley Quinn associated song that I think is going to be really good. We've got a sort of X-Men associated song, and we've got a few songs that don't have nerd content even. So we've had technical difficulties, but please look up 12 Valentines on all the usual music sources. And also, if you like to read my superhero nerdy novella, it's called Unicorn versus Pegasus, and it's on Amazon in the Kindle Vella section, Vella for novella. I'm very excited about all those things. Please find them if you'd like. And also, I'm Dama, DOMMAH, on all the socials if you'd like to connect there.
Yeah. And we have, thanks to you, a TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Dama1 on TikTok, and you've encouraged us to create a TikTok on the Nerds Club. We haven't posted anything on it, but
we're gonna get more content on that.
I think you're going to be our TikTok person on
I think I'm the front man, and the official Nerds of Color account will be like my Robin. as far as the TikTok universe.
So we're the Nerds of Color on all platforms except TikTok. I think we're technically at Hard NOC Media.
Well, that's one of the things. There may be Nerds of Color of that associate with something else in the TikTok.
Yeah, because I thought we had an at the Nerds of Color account, but I did some digging in it. It exists, but it doesn't exist.
I'll double check. But also, again, TikTok is a very broad universe with a lot of different teams going on. So
yeah, I don't understand it, and that's why I've bequeathed it onto you.
But yeah, Dama1 on TikTok. I have cool content that is exclusive to that as far as we're talking about Nerds of Color stuff.
Yeah.
So,
including a really cool throwback to an interview with Steph Curry that you did.
Yeah.
That was connected to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And some karaoke.
He is sick of not like us, but in a funny way.
I'm on Twitter at _real_child. I don't really post on social media anymore, so don't follow me. Follow the Nerds of Color at the Nerds of Color on all platforms. And go to hardknockmedia.com for the podcast, rate, review, go to our merch store and buy some cool t-shirts. You can support us on Patreon for now. We may kill the Patreon soon, to be honest.
Oh my god. you are really contracting the corporate empire. But wait, don't forget to subscribe to it's Nerds of Color on YouTube, because that really is an important thing. The main driver for this, honestly. Kind of
YouTube.com/the Nerds of Color. You can listen to the podcasts there as well as watch all of our cool videos. Again, Dominic just recorded some really cool pachinko interviews for the new Apple.
My interview with Minha Kim was great. That was really awesome. That was really interesting.
Old friend of the pod, Jin Ha, you talked to as well.
Yeah, right on.
And so check those videos out. They're at the top of the YouTube channel. And until next time.
Well, I hope we have Kamala Harris as president the next time we talk.
Well, I hope we record before November.
No, we will. I hope.
Maybe. We may not. You might have just, spoiler alert, we're not recording until November 6th. But I didn't ask what your favorite speech of the week was. Did I?
I still like AOC quite a lot. But no, I thought AOC is a treasure. But Walz's and Harris's speech were both great. There were a lot of well done speeches. If we're just talking about oratory as its own skill, both Obamas were. I felt pepped. I
like Doug.
Yeah,
Doug was adorable.
Yeah.
I was hoping they'd play the voicemail Thursday night.
Wow, I wouldn't. That'd be wild.
That's what the outro for the pod should have been, like the Kamala Doug voicemail. We should have somehow got a hold of it and put it out.
Okay. Well,
Hey, it's done.
that's nerdy as far as Democratic politics go, but
Yeah, and he has
I
a
like
fantasy
it.
football team named Nirvana. Come on, he's like a
Because-
man after my own heart.
Totally. Right on.